Okay, so let's start. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. I will talk today about the Kanban System, the Trojan horse of organization transformation. So probably you already heard about this Trojan War, right? Where the Greeks and Trojans, they were in a war more than 9 years, and they were spending a lot of money at the time. Let's say people were dying and no one was winning the war. So what the Greeks did, they built a huge horse and offered to Trojans, and in the night the Greeks killed everyone, and that's it then. So I'm comparing the Kanban system as a Trojan horse, but I promise that I didn't kill anyone during the process. I cannot say that I didn't have the willing to do that during the process, but I'm going to show to you today how we use static. So who is familiar with static? Yeah, probably, yeah, I guess so. But we use it in a different way. And as you notice, I'd say we, not I, because we never worked alone. So I had a great team work with me during the process. But before, let me present myself. I am Michelle. I am an enterprise agile coach. It was interesting that the lecture before mine was Chris and Scott. In my case, happened when I was still working at IBM. Right now, I'm working at Kyndryl. It's a lot of topics that they mentioned. I'm really familiar, so they talked about the Big Bang. So you're going to notice some steps that the name of that are generated because of the process of the Big Bang that will happen at the company. But right now, Kyndryl is an independent company. They happened the spin-off last year, so almost 1 year that I'm working as a Kyndryl. But the team that I did that, the whole transformation is still at Kyndryl. So it's really good because I'm able to see the results, the outcomes, because I'm not working that part of the company anymore, but I still see some progresses for the organization transformation that we did there. I do have a lot of certifications, but I really think that more important to have the certifications is the experience, the hands-on, the process, and this is what I have the opportunity to do it. So to understand the story, what we did, why we did it, I want you to understand the scenario. So the background that we have there. This is the mainframe team. So who is aware about the mainframe team? Do you know what's mainframe team? They are so proud of that they are dinosaurs because, yeah, they are really proud. So we have old people doing the same things for more than years and years. And for this team, we have around 200 people, more than 80 customers. So we have a huge diversity portfolio. So we supported many accounts at the same time and the same teams. And this story happened a little bit before the pandemic, so almost 2 years working with them. So we have, before the pandemic, we have local and remote people for 5 different countries. So we have people from India, US, Argentina, Brazil, and Costa Rica. So it's a really challenge, and this is what I want you to understand. We have some background. So Chris and Scott said that we already passed so many agile transformation, and it didn't work well. So what are the problems that I saw and I noticed? That we have challenge with organization, cross-team collaboration. We have different teams around the world, so how are we going to put everyone to work together? How are we going to lead another transformation, agile transformation? I don't like to say agile transformation, I like to say organizational transformation, because in the companies, I don't know if it happened with your companies, but almost every year or 2 years, we have a new agile transformation. It seems it never ended. You always have some space for improvements. So we have this culture change the mindset. Here we are talking about with dinosaurs. They were so proud about that, the way that they were working, what they are doing, why a young person, we are going to tell them, hey, now you need to change the way that we are working. Why is that? We also have the technology, the innovation, so it's a challenge. The way that we are working is changing every month. So how we are going to train the dinosaurs to learn the new technologies that we have. And they also have the skills because they enter in the mainframe team and say, well, I was contracted to be a database support. Why you are asking me to learn a little bit more about storage? Why am I going to do that? I don't care. It's not, I was not contracted to do that. So some changes. And around that time, it was happening organization transformation. It's not like something that I said, I'm not doing anything at all here. I was at the only Agile coach dedicated for that area of the company in Brazil. So I am from Brazil. And I already saw what didn't work. I already saw that even I was telling the day, hey, this is really good. They're going to help you your daily basis. They're not going to do that. So it happened. I was very lucky to have a very good sponsorship. So we have a workshop in Brazil. So C-level traveled to Brazil. They did a workshop to say, hey, this is the new organization transformations that we're going to have. It's called Big Bang, boom. So everything needed to change at the same time. So I was really worried about that time. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to change the way that they are working? Because it's given the results. Why are you going to ask a team, a department to ask to change the way that they were working? If it's working, it's giving results. The customer is not. We're not so complained so much. So here, what the first thing that I did was to have the sponsorship. So the executive level, so the second line manager, he was there. The managers were there. So we needed to have the leadership involved because in the past experience, we noticed that we were just working with the support teams and the leadership. Are they using Kanban? Do they understand what is Kanban? Do they understand why we're doing here, why we are together? So the first thing that we did after to see who are the sponsorship, who are the ones that are going to help us to lead these transformations. So we have different levels here, the executive, the managers, and support team. We did a Kanban workshop. Why Kanban? I like Kanban. I was the one that was leading that, so I'm going to start with that. And I have to be honest, in the end, it's called the Kanban workshop, Kanban game, but I have to be honest because my first thought at the time was, okay, what I'm going to do is to create Kanban boards for all the teams because they are around that time, they are now using the Kanban board. I was so excited and feeling that after this Kanban workshop, they are going to say, hey, Michelle, let's use that. Let's put it in practice, but was not what happened, okay? And this workshop was really important to then understand the Kanban principles, and we are going to use the Kanban to lead our transformation. That's it. They didn't start using the Kanban boards. Another thing that I forgot to mention is in my lecture, I really want you to show the bad things. Because generally when you're here in front, just say, hey, this is what happened, this is what worked, but a lot of things didn't work in that way that I thought that they're going to be. So we have to relearn, course correct all the time. So here is a static, system thinking approach to implement Kanban. Generally, when we start applying, putting in practice the static, we have those steps, but we applying them inside of the teams. How to create the Kanban boards inside of the teams. How to understand, visualize the services. But have you ever thought that we can use those steps to lead a agile organization transformation? And this is what we did. we adapted. So we're going to see what are the steps that we use it for our transformations. It's a little bit different what we have for the static, but the static was our inspiration. What are going to do for this transformation to work? How are going to do to people to be with us along with this transformation, okay? So the first, we have two phases, let's say that. The first one, I call it the evolution, because remember, we are having the Big Bang, boom. So everything have to change inside of the company. And here, the first step is called Genesis. We don't have that in static. So we adapted for the scenario that we are having. And here, the intention, okay, let me do another pause. Whenever we have those transformations inside of the components, we at the Agile coaches or the product managers, we receive a guidance. So this is the thing that you have to do in your area. You have to do that, period. Here I was lucky to have a good sponsorship, so they just told me, do whatever you want, but you need to achieve that result. That's it. So we were able to adapt some things. The first one was the Genesis. Here, in the guidance of the company, we have to redesign the squads. But how am I going to redesign the squads if I don't understand the dependency of the service? How am I going to do that as a first step? So in that moment, what we did was a little bit different. We just put the teams together and asked, do we understand your squad purpose? Do you understand why you are together here? Do you understand the impact of your work? Do you understand what if the database is down? How are we going to affect the car factory? Do you understand if we shut down that system, how are we going to affect the flight air company? This kind of questions that we start doing. And everyone always say that, yes, I understand. But they just was saying that, well, what I'm a database support, and so on. How does it impact it in the real life? How does it impact our customers? So this is what kind of questions that we did in the beginning. That's it. We didn't do any changes at all. Another thing that Chris and Scott mentioned, we have a huge job catalog. I was so excited about that, what we are doing. But when they showed it to me, the job catalog, it was, oh my God, 2,000 services, catalogs, jobs that we're providing to the customer. So how we're going to do the next steps that I was planning, like the workflow modeling, the VSM. And here we use the Miro, the collaboration tool, and we put everyone together to say, okay, for your squad, for our team, what are the services that you're doing? And here the people just started putting, so we clustered them, we grouped them, and at the end of this exercise, we have almost more than 200 services. We summarized, so it's a start point, so they were able to understand a little bit more. It's not only about that. Remember, those squads, they support more than 30 accounts, more or less. So for each services that they were supporting, it's a little bit different, depends on the account that they supported. So the first step, Genesis, was just only that, to review the squad purpose and also identify the services. And then the next step, workflow modeling or VSM, value stream mapping. So now we understood, we have the list of the services that squads were providing, and then we are able to do the next step. Here, in our case, we use Excel. That's it. We didn't use another fancy tools to do this an exercise. And here was really nice to do this an exercise because they were able to understand the dependencies that the team they have it. Because one service is starting working in a team C, and then goes to the team B, and then goes to the team A, and then goes back to team B, and so on and so on. It's just an example, but this VSM's exercise was really big. And we were just making a visual, doing simple and make visual. That's the only thing that we did here. And here we also starting to estimate the lead time. So how much time do you take to do that service? What's the wait time? And what is your process efficiency? They were really scared when they saw the process efficiency because it was not so good. They have a lot of space for improvements. Wait time is our invisible killer. So they started noticing that when we're doing this exercise. And also, we starting list the pain points. Because here it's not only a matter to understand the flow, but also the pain points. What we have here, if we have a huge wait time, how are going to impact us if we wait more than 8 hours? How are going to impact the customers? So this is the first step. So here, whenever we're starting the workflow modeling, the teams were going to choose one services and do this workflow modeling. And then we have the next one. In the static, we have the demand analysis capability separated. Here we put everything together. And in the demand analysis, what we did, we reviewed the work type of the service. And again, we put everyone together. So this is an exercise, we did it together. This is one thing that I was worried about, that this is not going to be a transformations that we're not going to put people to think, work together with us. So they were invited to be in the meetings, to participate and give their point of view. So we review here their work type, what the customers, because for one service we can have more than 20 customers for that service. The volume, so how is the band is arriving, how many requests that we have here, and what is the customer expectations related of the services. And we also did the capability analysis. So here we want to see through the historical data, the lead time. Here I have to do a pause, because here around this time, I was not able to find data. Because I asked the people, okay, how do you receive those requests? Well, I receive through email. Okay, so how do you know how many requests we have during 1 month? Oh, I need to look for my email, then I need to consult another colleague here to see. They didn't have one tool to consolidate the data. So here, it was just guess, I have to be honest, because I think more or less we have 30 requests related of this service in a month. Oh, I don't know, I need to look for my email. We didn't have, but we have a start point through the guesses. Quality, if we were providing the good quality, for functional quality for the services. Regulation, so if we are going to achieving the SLAs that we have linked with the services, and identify gap. So through the data that I was trying to see, to work with it, to identify the gaps. So how can we make it better? So we started reviewing the service list. We did the VSM. We tried to do the mandated capability through historical data. It didn't work so much, but we tried. And then we created another step called solution proposal. So it doesn't matter if you only identify the gaps. How are we going to put in practice? And here we aligned with the big bang of the company. So we have some suggestions how to do this solution proposal. And it starts with automation. So the first question is, okay, you can see we have a problem here. Nice. How can we solve this problem? Can we automate it? Yes. Okay, nice. So let's talk with the automation team. Oh, no, we are not able to do that. So can you do a continuous improvement? So here we have a differentiations. Automations is with automation team. A continuous improvement is a improvement done inside of the squad, of the team. Oh, we're not able to fix that problem. So, okay, let's cross-training. We're unable to fix that problem if we cross-training? Yes. Okay, nice. Let's stop here. No, let's redesign the teams. But here, the reality, we generally stop at the number 2, continuous improvement, because the managers and the people, they didn't want to redesign the teams. They didn't want it. And here, as I can see, we're just working with them to solve the problems. We are not asking them to change anything at all. We are respecting the scenario, the current environment that they are doing. And here we have the Kanban board. So we started using the Kanban board. This is an internal tool called the Blue Site. We started using only for the transformations. Around this time, the team's Kanban board was not created at all. We just using this with the leadership and the Agile Champions. I'm going to explain what is Agile Champions soon, to review the steps of these transformations. So for every step of the evolution, we created a column there. So we have the backlog, all the services listed, the replenishment queue where they prioritize what the services they're going to start working in an iteration. And then we have another steps, workflow modeling, demand capability solutions, and service delivery review. I'm going to show soon the whole management system. Okay, it's not only important to track the evolution of this evolution phase, but also important to put it, to fix things. So if you are seeing pain points, if you are seeing things that are not working, how are you going to put in practice? So we call this part as Kaizen, continuous improvements in proposed solution. And the first time we have to, okay, here another pause. While we are doing this exercise, we discovered a lot of pain points. At the same time, they proposed a lot of solutions. How are we going to prioritize them? How are we going to work with the solutions? Here we did a design think session, not only to review, to prioritize the solutions at the first moment, but also to create this flow, this process. So the people were the ones that create the flow of this process during the design thinking. So how are we going to put in practice a Kaizen? First, we have to prioritize. So through all the solutions that we have here, what is the important solution? They choose that, and then the next step, validation. It's not only a matter to say, hey, are we going to choose that solution, but it's feasible to do it? We're going to spend a lot of time on that. Does the automation teams have the capacity to do it? If yes, we are going then go in the next step, the planning. Here, again, for this service, we have a lot of customers. So for one service, we have, for an example, 30 customers. For each customer, we're going to apply that solution. So we have to plan that. And the next part was deployment, the implementations. Okay, so let's distribute it and identify the task that we're going to put in place that solution. And here, this is where the people start using the team's Kanban board. This is the trick, because we use the organization transformations to leverage the skills of the people. We started with the leadership, and since we started having some actions that the teams have to do it, how are we going to track those activities? And then the next step of the Kaizen, it was the evaluation. Okay, so we implemented. Let's see our historical data. How was the lead time before the implementations, and how is the lead time after the implementation? Inequality, because since we have a lot of customers, if one solution worked for one customer, how are we going to apply that for another customer? So then they have to do an answer. It's applicable for other customer? Yes, so let's restarting all the cycle again. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, let's end the solution here. And here, this is the Kanban board of Kaizen. So we also have, let me see the time. We also have here a board only for the Kaizen. So all the steps that they suggested, we created and we use it to follow through the actions put in place. We also have the Kanban in the replenishment meeting and the deliver plan meetings that I'm going to explain here. Okay, so how do we put in practice? I was the only Agile coach full-time dedicated for that. We have 42 teams, squads at the time. I cannot be in person for another times. So we did it that way. We have a role, a hat called Agile Champion. So we training the champions to be enabled to understand the exercise here. We training the leaders so they were enabled to understand what we were doing here. And we split it by iteration that it takes. In the beginning, I thought that 15 days was okay, but didn't work at all. So we started doing the iteration for 1 month. For 1 month, the team are going to choose one services. They are going to do the VSM, the workflow modeling, do the demand capabilities analysis, propose the solutions for that. We're going to review this with the leader, the second line manager, and we are going to planning what will be the activities that we're going to put in practice. In this meeting, the delivery planning meeting was really good because around that time they were discussing, hey, these are the pain points that we found out. And the other manager are going to say, hey, we already have a solution in our team. So some issues, they were already fixed during this delivery planning meeting. And then we have the Kaizen, okay? As you can note, we started in the Big Bang just focusing on the problem resolution. We asked them, we did some practice together to say, hey, let's see the problems. Because generally, for dinosaurs, when we ask them, hey, do you have a problem? They are going to say, nope, everything is okay. They didn't see any problem at all. So we need to make the visuals the problems. The VSM helping us to do this visual, find the pain points, and use the Kaizen. When we achieved this time, it was already past almost 4 months, and we didn't talk at all to the creations of the Kanban board for the team. Say, hey, you need to do that. You need to create a Kanban board. Only after some times that we showed some real results, some things that were help them in their daily basis, that we start talking about that. And this is what we call it the second phase of our Big Bang, our organization transformations, system thinking. So fit for purpose. In this part, while the Kaizens were being implemented, we starting, okay, let's go beyond. Let's see the leader and client expectations. How is it? Let's see the satisfaction criteria, score satisfaction. In here, I was so excited about that I thought, okay, I'm going to create a form. So I'm going to send to the leaders and also maybe send to the customers, and they're going to answer. Nope. The first time that I discussed it with the executive, he told me, Michelle, why we're going to do that if we already have some tools internally? That's true, why we're going to? Let's use the tools that we already have. So we have the Net Promote Score, so NPS, so the customer provides some feedbacks. In here, they don't provide feedbacks specifically for our team, but for the whole account that the company supports. And also we have the engagement pulse. So this is where the managers receive some feedbacks for the people. So we already have two ways to know how is the satisfaction, the customer satisfactions, and also the leader satisfactions. So we started using the data that we have. Okay, so we understand how is the score satisfaction. Now let's starting talking about the system design. So this is the way, in the moment that we started talking about the use of the Kanban board. So what we did with the teams were, okay, you already analyzed it, so already passed the 4 or 5 month here. So we already analyzed 4 or 5 services. Can you understand that we have some problems here? So we are working to solve the pain points. How you are tracking it? Which way you are visualizing the work that you're putting in place? Oh, I'm not using anything. Okay, let's try to put it in the Kanban board. And here, we can see we just only have 3 columns in the Kanban board. Backlog, active, and close. That's it. Because in the beginning, it was a personal Kanban. It's not everyone for the teams that started using. It's just one the early adopters. So I worked a lot with the early adopters to say, hey, during the stand-ups, let's share our screen, let's put it in the Kanban board, let's show it to them what the work that we're doing. Let's establish the rules and responsibilities here. So when we're going to create the cards in the Kanban boards, explicit policies here, right? Who will be the ones that are going to lead the meeting? So here we started working with Kanban meeting in retrospective. In the beginning, only with the tasks or the things that we are working to solve the problems. Okay, and then after we designed the Kanban board, and here it took a lot of time because not only to explain the concept of a Kanban board, we did more Kanban workshops. We have to explain how to use the tools, the tools that we're using to track the activities. We started talking about the service class. How we are going to prioritize the things that we are putting in the Kanban board. And here again, I laugh because sometimes I hear what they were telling to me. They say, hey, I don't need that. I understand what is important, what I have to do first, etc. But then I asked, how do you prioritize things in our Kanban board? And they say, well, the ones that yells louder, the ones that say, hey, do that right now, and that's it. So here, again, another way to explain today how the service class can help them to prioritize their backlog. And finally, the last step of this big bang, call it system thinking, call it the showcase or rollout. So we needed to socialize the solutions for everyone. So you are doing a great progress. How we make sure that everyone understands about that? Because here, I don't know if it happens in your companies, but I can see a lot of miscommunication. Because we are doing great things, but we are not telling the stakeholders what we are doing. And here we have that moment. Here it was in quarterly basis, but here was the following. We socialized the solutions. The ones that did the solutions, they presented the solutions. We celebrated because here in that moment, we invited everyone and the mainframe team to participate in that. So the managers recognize the persons. So we give some gifts to them, these points that we have internally. So, and they were able to tell to the people, hey, this is what we worked. This is what we are doing. So it closes. And also we had the Kanban portfolio. So how the C-level were enabled to understand where we were in this transformation organization. So we have this. So for each part of the team, we created the cards and we're enabled to understand. You can see we have one card in the backlog. That team, they didn't start working at all. But they also have some good progresses. Another thing that I did, I think the manager were not aware about that time. I was the person that was stressing the system a little bit. Because what tends to happen with the leadership is the following. When we do this transformation, they are going to delegate their responsibility for another person. So I do understand they have a lot of things to do, but the leadership needs to be committed, needs to be responsible, more than that, needs to be responsible for that. And here, the managers, they have bi-weekly meetings with the C-level, and the C-level was using this board. I was not that in the meeting, but the C-level was using this board to say, hey, tell me what's going on with the transformation in your part. What is the solution? What we are doing? Do you understand the solutions? Do you understand what your team needs to put in practice? And here, the C-level used it to lead the meetings that they had with them. Okay, so this is the manager system of this transformation. So we created some things that it doesn't have in the static. So we divided it in two phases. One's called evolution, where let's review. So we're starting with the genesis, review the squad purpose, identify the services that they were doing the VSM, the workflow modeling, understand the demanding capabilities, seeing the pain points, asking the people to participating into propose the solutions. Kaizen, okay, let's put in practice, let's see how we can fix the solutions. And then we start the second phase that's called the system thinking. Let's see the feature for purpose. Let's see what the customers are, the feedback that they are providing to us. Let's see the system design. The moment you can see, we only start talking about the Kanban board in the end of the process, after we have good results. We review the service classes, and then we close it with the showcase, socializing the solutions, and also recognizing, celebrating with the people. And here, how it worked. So how we did it. The transformation Kanban feeds the team Kanban. So we had we had the Kanban portfolio. So we are able to understand the Kanban evolution system thinking. I didn't show to you, but after we created the steps of the system thinking, we also put it in the side of the Kanban board. So everyone were able to understand the flow that we're doing for this transformation. And then we have the Kanban Kaizen. So those Kanbans were connected. So they were feeding each other. And those Kanbans here, the evolution, system thinking, and Kanban Kaizen, starting feeding the team Kanban. So the teams started using the cards to see the solutions. And you can see, I just put in one leadership Kanban, because here the leadership was also invited. Because it's good the support teams started using the Kanban board, the Kanban, but in the leaders needed to lead by the example, right? We also started to have that, not so much as the team Kanban, but the leaders start using it. So the results, okay? First, let's talk about numbers. In the end, we had 47 squad or chapters. We reviewed, and I remember only 2 squads were redesigned around that time, because they understood that makes sense when we analyzed the VSMs, the dependence that they have, but only that. They didn't want to change the way that they were designed. It's fine, it's a start point. So we have 200 service lists listed, so we put it together, we cluster. And after 2 years, the numbers that I'm showing you, it's after 2 years of work with them, okay? We analyzed 50% of the services. So we did the VSM, we did the demand capabilities. We created 42 Kanban boards. You can see that we have 47. It means that 5 teams, they said that they won't use Kanban board at all. And that's it. We respect them. The dinosaurs didn't want to use it. Let's respect it. Let's move them forward. Let's not waste time with them. So we have 278 solutions proposed, and we were able to finalize then 10%. There is still a lot of in progress when I capture this data. And one thing that I started noticing in the NPS that increase in that area. So again, the NPS is the feedback that customer provide us. It's not only for the mainframe team, but the whole account. But we started to have some comments that the mainframe team or some comments provided by the customer that was saying that how the mainframe team working and helping to improve their process, etc. And more important than numbers is also important the qualitative results. So we're starting having the optimized services, so we have some standardization in the services because we noticed with the pain points that we were seeing that sometimes we have a same process, but each person or each team, they were doing different ways. Let's start with standard to not waste a lot of time on it. We're starting discussing more and more about agile, design thinking, DevOps, so new ways of working. Again, it doesn't mean that the way that our dealer dinosaurs were working is wrong. It's not that, but maybe there is a better way to work it. So let's try to do that. We have the evolution of organization maturity. So the Kanban helping us to leverage these skills. And we were a role model because for mainframe, we have different mainframe teams inside of the company, but the Brazil ones were a reference because people say it's very difficult to use a Kanban board with the mainframe team because the services is very specifically, and we were showing to them that it was able. Another thing that I really think it's good, it's funny, because even though I'm not working with them anymore as Agile coach, I am still the owner of where we put our VSMs or analysis that we did, I'm the owner. And every month I receive it in my email say, someone provided the access of this VSM for another one. It means that they are continuing using this data after 2 years, almost 3 years. They are still using it. So it's really good. We engage it, and I disengage. I'm not there anymore, but they learn it. We still have another person use it for the things that we did in this transformation. In the end, so we increase the effectiveness. It means that it's not important to do the right thing, the right way, but do the right thing, okay? So this is what we did. So how to rethink agility? In our transformation, we starting with the workshop, putting everyone together, understand why you were doing, what our purpose, why we need to achieve. We created the evolution using the inspiration of aesthetic. And that moment, the main purpose was just visualize the problems. Let's work with the Kaizen, continuous improvement. And then we transformed that in a strategic project. So everyone was involved. Everyone was invited to participate on it. And then we started having the showcases to show to everyone, hey, this is what you're doing. We are recognized then. We understand how you're contributing for this process. And then we started creating the Kanban boards. And then was the second phase, the system thinking, that we created the Kanban boards internally in the teams. We did the analysis, a service class, and then we become a role model reference internally. And then we still are in a restless continuous improvement because it never ends. We always have a space for improvement. But as I can see, we have here the Trojan horse going filtering inside of this whole system because I didn't say at any moment that what we were doing was static. I didn't say anything at all to them. We just naming the phase, it just started doing, creating things together and moving so on. Okay, so that's it. So really thank you for participating in my lecture. And do you have questions?
7 or 8 minutes for questions and answers. Anybody would like to pose a question or comment? Okay. Oh, got somebody behind me, sorry.
Thank you for the talk. When you said you made the problems visible from teams and they said, oh no, we don't have any problems, what kinds of things did you find?
All the problems, a lot. But let's give some an example. We noticed that we have a huge wait time between the process, because some process we need to follow what is under contract, right? So some process, it took more than 2 days, 3 days, because we need to wait for authorization for the customer to continue the process, what we are doing. And this is one example. We are unable to change some contracts. It took time, but they were showing to the customer, hey, dear customer, we are following your process. But can you see that it takes almost 3 days to get one answer for you? So this is one thing. Another one was the things that were enabled to automate. Because the dinosaurs were used to do in that way, they didn't want to automate. Because, I already know that process, so let's continue doing it that way. So automated was also that. Skills, why a senior is doing an activity that we can teach for a junior. Why they are doing that? Senior cannot work in a complex request or project. So this kind of pain points we starting find out. Okay.
Thank you. You mentioned 5 of the teams didn't want to do Kanban, or they don't want to use the Kanban, you let it go. What about all the teams that saying that? Like, how do you handle that?
If what other teams said?
Other teams also said, like, oh, we don't want to do it, kind of. Like, everybody started getting into that.
No, of course not. I talked with other teams. I invited them to use the Kanban board. So I tried a lot to say, hey, can you see the results that we're having? How can I help you? But after 5 months, I talk with the leadership and say, hey, it's not working. They say they're not going to use it. And that the leader said, okay, let's move on forward.
If the 5 is bigger number, whoever is using is less number and whoever is not using.
No, who is using, yes. So we thought that after some time, the ones that don't want to use the Kanban, maybe they are going to figure out, hey, maybe it can help us. Yeah.
How long did the whole process take? Because it seemed like most of the steps were getting ready to use the Kanban board. So from beginning of start of transformation to teams fully autonomously using it, how long did that take?
Oh, good question. Almost 1 year. You have to be patient, guys. But some teams started using it before. But when I said almost the 42, almost 1 year, 1.5 years. It's a journey, right? Transformation, it's a journey, so it took some time.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Do we have another question in the room? All right, well, thank you for your presentation today.